We have officially entered the dog days of the NBA summer free agency period. The draft has come and gone, free agency kicked off shortly thereafter, and as expected, most of the noteworthy players were quickly inked to contracts throughout the league, and Summer League has begun for the young guys. At this point, you look around the remaining NBA free agency pool, and most of the names don't jump out at you. Sure, some guys are pretty good. Tyus Jones and Gary Trent remain available, and those guys can spark an interesting conversation. But other than them, you mostly have non-needle movers. These come in the form of older veterans looking to tag along for a championship like Kyle Lowry, Doug McDermott, or Gordon Hayward. Prime players with pretty serious flaws to their game like Markelle Fultz, Luke Kennard, and Seth Curry. And a whole lot of third-string centers that don't amount to a whole lot but are pretty tall, like Bismack Biyombo, JaVale McGee, and Cody Zeller. But this is not the full list of pros available. Every year, a few elite overseas players will get to try their hand in the NBA. Most of these guys come from Europe, thanks to the EuroLeague being the second most elite basketball league on the planet. But today, I wanted to go one step further from where most Americans look. Today, I wanted to list off 10 players from Asia who I believe have more than proven themselves in foreign leagues and on the FIBA stage. Say what you will, but Asian players have a very negative stigma against them as basketball players. They are usually brushed off as being too short or unathletic, but every now and then, some break through that barrier and have success in the NBA. Who knows, maybe one of these guys may end up being the next Jeremy Lin, Rui Hachimura, or maybe even the next Yao Ming. The rules for this list are pretty simple. Every guy has to have been born and raised in Asia. They have to have not been drafted by an NBA team, and they have to have never played up to this point in an official NBA game. Before we dive in, please like the video as it helps me out way more than I think you guys realize. Now, let us get started. The first guy I wanted to talk about is a player I made a video on around a year ago. Yuki Kawamura is the best basketball player in Japan. The 23-year-old point guard has had an electric pro career already. In 2020, while still enrolled in high school, he became the youngest player to ever play in their highest domestic league, the B League. He then embarked on a pro career with Yokohama, where he has improved each season, culminating in him winning the league MVP in 2023. This past year, he improved his averages to 20 points and 8 assists per game. Unfortunately though, he is pretty short at only 5'8". But he is very strong and he is very quick, which helps him defend around the perimeter and poke the ball out of bigger players' hands. And on offense, he has an elite handle, possesses terrific court vision, and he can create shots and passes out of nothing. He also has had a lot of success competing internationally, as he helped lead Japan in the World Cup last year to the highest finish of any Asian team, which earned them qualification for the upcoming 2024 Summer Olympics. Kawamura is a terrific player, but his size definitely scares off NBA teams. Surprisingly, in the process of me making this video, it came out that he has signed an Exhibit 10 deal with the Memphis Grizzlies. So come preseason, we should get the opportunity to see him play, which is something I have been waiting a pretty long time for. I am not sure though if he would rather play in the G League or back in Japan if he misses out on a two-way spot, but I am rooting for him either way. Moving towards the mainland, one of the continent's best shooters is Shuai Yuan of China. This 29-year-old 6'2" shooting guard just led all Chinese scorers in the CBA with an average of 21 points per game, which was a career high, but definitely not a fluke as he has steadily been getting better every season as a pro. With Shanxi this past season, he lit it up as a sharpshooter, knocking down 40% of his threes on 8 tries a night. But unlike a lot of shooting specialists in the CBA, Yuan also showed he could put the ball on the ground and finish inside the arc at a high rate, as he hit an uber impressive 58% of his twos. Usually it is the American fringe NBA talent who scores as much as Yuan did in the CBA, but he did just as good as any of them. The biggest knock to his game, though, is that he is not a particularly good defensive player, even against fellow smaller guards. But I will say, there are plenty of guys in the NBA right now who make their money as shooters without offering a whole lot of anything else. Yuan has proven he can knock down NBA range threes for many years. I believe he is deserving of at least an NBA opportunity. The next guy I want to talk about is Junghyun Lee of South Korea. He was by far the best South Korean-born player in the KBL in 2024. Looking up his name is a nightmare though, due to how common that name is in Korea and how little footage and record of their highest domestic league exists online. I am talking about the 25-year-old 6'3" Lee, the one who during this past season managed terrific averages of 22 points, 7 assists, and 3 steals per game while shooting 37% from deep on almost 8 tries a night. Lee is a newcomer to the international scene, so we have not seen him get much of a run on their national team yet, but I believe the future is very bright for the young point guard and South Korean basketball as a whole. And before anyone comments it down below, I am aware that a South Korean-born player named Junghyun Lee exists and played for the Santa Cruz Warriors a while ago. These are not the same person. Junghyun Lee has never played in the G League. He is currently a mystery man, but I wanted to give him some credit, and I want to see some NBA team give him a run so we can see what he is capable of. Moving west, I must give praise to the best point guard in the Middle East, Wael Arakji. The 6'4" 29-year-old is as good a floor general as it gets. He has had plenty of success leading the Lebanese national team and has won the Lebanese Domestic League's championship 7 times. Plus, he played 1 year in China and had a terrific run there as well. Arakji is a true point guard with a tight handle of the ball and is more than comfortable dribbling into crowds with taller and more athletic defenders. He can score either from a deep three, off the dribble in the mid-range, and in a variety of creative ways inside the paint. Plus, his playmaking is about as good as it comes, averaging plenty of assists in a league not known for its high-level shooters. As is common a gripe throughout the video, Arakji's biggest gripe is his lackluster athleticism, but I have said it once and I will continue to say it. The guy can play basketball at a very high level. You do not need to jump over anyone on a basketball court to have success. He can be a backup point guard pretty much anywhere. Another guard I want to hype up is actually an American college product. Keisei Tominaga is a 6'2", 23-year-old shooting guard from Japan who just finished his senior year at Nebraska. Unfortunately, he did not get drafted this summer, but I believe he more than proved himself throughout his college years. During his senior year, he even won the NCAA three-point shooting competition. Throughout college, Tominaga shot over 800 threes and knocked them down at a 42% clip. Plus, he made a breathtaking 60% of his twos as well, proving that even as a short, non-super athlete, he is capable of knocking down shots inside the arc against American athletes. Currently, Tominaga is on the Japanese national team preparing for the Olympics, and I am pumped to see what he, alongside Yuki Kawamura, will be able to do, but Tominaga has already landed an Exhibit 10 deal with the Indiana Pacers, so come the preseason, we should get the opportunity to see him play with actual NBA players, which could turn into a real NBA contract afterwards. I really am looking forward to seeing how this summer unfolds for him. Keeping it in Japan, the 28-year-old 6'5" Yudai Baba is one of the best off-ball players in Asia, and unlike most guys in this video, he already has a good deal of near NBA experience in the form of the Summer League, G League, and even the NBA preseason under his belt. This past season, he played in Japan's B League, and he showed a lot in the form of versatility on the court. Baba has displayed throughout his career an ability to shoot the long ball, a high talent with finishing inside the arc, plus he can rebound, create scoring opportunities for himself and others, and he more than holds his own defensively even against American athletes. In the G League between 2020 and 2022 seasons, Baba shot over 40% from long range and averaged a steal and a half a night. I understand the immediate criticism will be for his athleticism, but quite frankly that is overblown and lazy. Baba has shown he can compete with hyper-American athletes in the G League, world-class talent in the World Cup, and he has fit in beautifully alongside NBA teammates on all levels. Baba could definitely play in the NBA during these prime years of his career. The next guy will without a doubt be the most unheard of throughout this video, but I wanted to get to 10, and I wanted to dig deep for at least one of them. Ting Chun Hong is a 6'3", 28-year-old do-it-all guard from Malaysia, a country ranked near the bottom of the FIBA Asian rankings. But they truly would be at the bottom if it were not for Chun Hong. This past year he spent in the Malaysian MBL. He helped lead the NS Matrix team to a league championship, averaging 15 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists per game, showcasing a solid shot creation ability and a crafty inside scoring skill set. Then in the Asia Champions League, where he had the opportunity to face off with the CBA champions and 2 Middle Eastern champions, he managed averages of 14 points, 6 rebounds, and 2 assists per game while connecting on a solid 35% of his threes. Look, I'm not saying Chun Hong is an NBA prospect. He really isn't. But I believe he is worthy of a look at least in the G League. The Malaysian Basketball League is not a high-level one, but good players can come from anywhere, and we have not seen him on a big stage hardly at all throughout his career because the Malaysian national team never really gets very far. I would give him a G League training camp invite if I were in charge of a team, and that's what I'm hoping we get to see happen, although I really think out of anyone on this list, this is probably the least likely. Up next, perhaps the name Fanbo Zeng may ring some bells to American fans. The 6'9", 21-year-old was a part of one of the early G League Ignite teams, and at the time was highly touted as China's best NBA prospect. He has spent the last couple of years playing in the CBA, and as a pro has continued to round out his game. Fanbo has shown he has a solid long shot, he can put the ball on the floor and knock down shots both in the mid-range and at the rim, and he is a more than eager shot contester as he managed 1.4 blocks per game last year. Fanbo is a very good basketball player with good NBA size, valuable pro experience, and he is still very young, which means the sky is the limit for him. I'm honestly surprised no NBA team has expressed any interest in bringing him on, even for just a summer league invite. One thing though I will say is that the NBA is not made up of the best 400 basketball players in the world. The top 200 or so are, but beyond that it is mostly role players and young guys just getting a chance to show what they can do. There are guys in the league right now who would not win a one-on-one against a random high-level college player, but they will play meaningful minutes for a winning NBA team. And if you don't believe me, all because of that Brian Scalabrine thing that happened a few years ago, which like a decade ago at this point. Mario Hezonja is not in the NBA, but Davis Bertans makes 8 figures. That should be enough evidence right there. Being a solid all-around player is great, but you need to bring something to the table that makes your presence worth having around. That's why there's so many G Leaguers who can put up 25 a game in that league, but they get to the NBA and they just can't do anything. NBA teams may not be convinced Fanbo has any specific skill strong enough to justify giving him a roster spot, but I believe he is worth giving a chance to because he is so well-rounded, and the important thing, he is still so young. Moving south, there is a certain center from the Philippines that I am pretty sure you were thinking of when I brought up the topic of this video, and that is Kai Sotto. One of the most talked about undrafted basketball prospects worldwide I probably have ever seen. Sotto has already bounced around the world a lot throughout his brief professional career. He spent the COVID year training with the G League Ignite, then went to Australia's NBL, played a couple games in the NBA Summer League, and then he spent last year in Japan's rapidly rising B League. For the pros to his game, Sotto has great NBA size at 7'3", and is young at only 22 years of age. So his ceiling has still not been reached, and it's a pretty high ceiling. So far on the court, he has shown that with his size and length, he is a very good rim finisher. But to be honest, I have not been impressed with pretty much the rest of his game and the rest of his career thus far. Sotto does not have any sort of floor game, and he has not shown much in the way of jump shooting. And despite his extreme size and athleticism, he is not a good rim protector, as he only managed 1 block per game in the B League, which is known to be a league full of shorter guards and slower, less athletic big men. Sotto has a lot of developing to do if he wants to play meaningful minutes for a good pro team, which I believe is the big reason for his jumping around from team to team as much as he has done so far. Sotto does not offer a ton to a high-level pro team. When he joined Yokohama this past season to team up with Yuki Kawamura, there was a lot of expectations that they would run the league, and they just were not very good because Sotto was just kind of useless inside. I think he is unwilling to commit to a lesser role to focus on development, and I think that's why NBA teams are staying away from him. I am including Sotto in this video because of his measurables and potential, but as a basketball player, he has a lot to do to get better. The last guy I want to bring up in this video is not a big name player, but he is someone I have watched for a very long time, and I really wanted to give him some praise. That would be the 6'10", 34-year-old Mar Fajardo. The Filipino veteran big man who has been representing their national team for a decade now and dominating their highest domestic league, the PBA, for even longer. Fajardo is an excellent do-it-all center. He can score inside, knock down mid-range set shots, rebound bigger than he is, pass like a point center at times, and he does an excellent job defending both at the rim and out to the perimeter. This past year in the PBA, he averaged 17 points, 13 rebounds, 2 assists, and nearly 2 blocks per game. Fajardo is a long shot to get an NBA opportunity though at this late stage in his career due to his low upside and slow feet, but his basketball IQ is extremely high. I personally believe that as a third string center for a win-now team, you cannot go wrong with a veteran who would understand his role in the offense and would not make mistakes defensively. Many NBA teams fall apart when their starting five goes down with an injury just because so many young bigs make crucial mistakes defensively or aren't threats doing anything other than dunking on offense. Fajardo could be a stable force in a reserve role. And that wraps it up. Thank you guys for watching the video all the way to the end. Please let me know down below who I overlooked when putting this list together. Who did I mention you are most looking forward to watching going forward? And let me know if I have any B-League, CBA, or any other Asian League fans down below. I really enjoy following pro leagues around the world, and any chance I have to highlight certain guys or talk about certain things, I really want to take. Also, I think I may make more of these videos going forward, so if you have any continents you want me to bring up and go through, let me know down below. Please subscribe for more basketball content. I will see you all next time.